Hey now, metalheads, it's Black Metal Werewolf making a brand new video for you this week. And today, what I would like to talk about is the metalhead community, and how I think this idea of a community among metalheads is something that needs to be rejected. But before I get into the subject of today's video, I would like to tell you guys about something. Over the past several months, I have been working very hard on starting my very own podcast. Now, this podcast has nothing to do with heavy metal. It's going to be about the paranormal. Every episode, I will be looking at two major cases of paranormal happenings. I will be going over exactly what happened, and then try to figure out if it was real or not. And I will also be taking stories from listeners about their very own paranormal happenings. So if you have your own story that you would like to be shared on my up-and-coming podcast, you can send in your written or recorded stories to thelostcampfire@gmail.com. I will have more information for you guys once the podcast is up and running, but I just thought I would like to let you guys know in case anyone is interested. But now, let's get into the subject of today's video. Generally speaking, the concept of the metal community really doesn't sound that bad. You have a whole bunch of people communicating with each other, be it in person, online, or possibly a pen pal situation, and they're just discussing their love for metal, their favorite bands, their favorite albums, sharing things that they like, talking about things that they don't particularly like. Yes, in the land of milk and honey, this concept is a really good idea. However, over the past few years, I have noticed that the metal community seems to have been infiltrated by what I would consider to be insidious ideologies. So I started noticing this pattern not too long ago when I saw that somebody who I follow on Instagram was posting in their stories about how they were being viciously bullied by other metalheads over TikTok. Now, I don't have TikTok because my IQ is above 60, but I am aware that a lot of people really like that app for some reason. Anyway, so I talked to this person and they were showing me what they were being called. People were saying they weren't a real metalhead, that they should stop listening to heavy metal music, they're a Nazi, they're a right-wing extremist, they should go kill themselves, that they hope they get killed or run over. You know, just vicious venom being spit at this person. I was like, what the hell did you do to warrant this kind of horrible abuse? And it turns out that this person's sin was that they really liked guns. They like showing off their guns, they like buying guns, doing target practice, talking to other gun enthusiasts, and yeah, like most gun owners, they didn't necessarily agree with a lot of gun control laws. Therefore, they were a Nazi and a right-wing extremist, and therefore they should never listen to heavy metal music. And those things connect each other because reasons. And so after I saw the horrible abuse that this poor person was going through, simply because they did not share the same ideologies that a bunch of 14-year-olds on TikTok had, I realized that this idea of this whole metalhead community isn't all peaches and cream. Now, I am 100% guilty of throwing around the term metalhead community countless times. I've talked about it in my videos, I've praised it. For the most part, I thought it was a good thing. But that one instance really made me want to take a closer look at it, and I realized that it's really not that good. Now, at first I thought maybe this was just a small isolated incident that this one person had with a bunch of mental defectives over TikTok. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized this was not an isolated incident. There are some seriously concerning ideologies that have seemed to have infiltrated the metal community and trying to push people out so that their ideologies reign supreme. Now look, I'm not here to preach to you about right-wing, left-wing bullshit. To me, heavy metal has always been about freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. We're all together because of our undying love for metal. Look, if you want to be left-wing, right-wing, that is your choice. I believe that is up to you as an individual. It is not my concern what kind of political or religious or your social views are. That's not what this is about. This is about our love for heavy metal. But it seems like so many people are now taking their ideologies of religion, of politics, of social issues, and forcing it into heavy metal. And if you do not agree with their viewpoints, God fucking help you. Now, perhaps I'm just being naive. Maybe ideological bullying has always been a prevalent thing in the metal community. Well, if that is indeed the case, that's just even more reason why we need to reject this whole concept. Because when I first started listening to heavy metal, at no point did I sign a contract saying that I was going to get down on my hands and knees and lick the boot of somebody else's viewpoints. Look, we are all sovereign individuals. We all have the right to make up our own minds and form our own opinions on essentially anything we want. And I am not going to let some 12-year-old on TikTok, you know, that person's been alive less time than I've been listening to heavy metal, tell me that I'm not a real metalhead because I don't agree with them on certain viewpoints. That is an asinine stance to take. And that is why this is a concept we need to fucking reject. I'm well aware that there may be plenty of people who disagree with my viewpoints in this video, or they may disagree with my viewpoints on any given subject. It really doesn't matter, because whether or not you and I agree or disagree on things, it doesn't make you any more or any less of a metalhead. Do you have an undying love for heavy metal music? If the answer is yes, then congratulations, you're a metalhead. I think what we need to acknowledge is that heavy metal has never been about, and never should be about, joining some Borg-like hive mind where we all stand around agreeing with each other and sucking each other's dicks. That's not what heavy metal is about. Like I said before, I always viewed it as a form of freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of choice. What a lot of these people are saying is that heavy metal should be about conformity and bootlicking. And if that's what you think metal is, well then, you might not be a real metalhead. But since I believe in freedom of choice and freedom of expression, I would like to get your guys' opinion on all of this. Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? Is the metalhead community really a land of milk and honey that a lot of people naively think it is? Or do you think it has been infiltrated by a lot of really insidious ideologies? I want to get your guys' opinion on all of this, so please leave me your thoughts, your concerns, your stories down in the comment section. I would love to know what you guys have to think about all of this. And now, like my past videos, it is time for an album warning or recommendation. And today is another recommendation. Now, I can't remember if I recommended this one in the past, but if I did, it deserves another recommendation. The album is Ronnie James Dio, This Is Your Life. So this is a compilation album that came out shortly after Dio died. But thankfully, it's not just a best-of album. This is a compilation of a whole bunch of different metal and rock artists coming together and doing covers of Dio songs. Now, unfortunately, not every song on here is very good. For example, we have Killswitch Engage doing a cover of Holy Diver, and we have Corey Taylor singing Rainbow in the Dark. And those guys completely butchered those songs. But other than those two, most of these are very, very good. For example, we have Rob Halford singing Man on the Silver Mountain, we have Tenacious D doing The Last in Line, and a whole bunch of other ones. I won't go into every song. But if you haven't listened to this album, I highly suggest you do so. Also, you guys know how much I love album art, and this has to be one of the best album arts I've ever seen, front and back. It's a rendering of all these artists that came together to do these songs, and it's just gorgeous. We got Lemmy, we got Tenacious D, we got the guys from Metallica, Rob Halford, and so much more. So if you can even just find the album art online, just look at it and really take it in, because it really is a sight to behold. So that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of today's video, checking out some of my past videos and sharing them with a few of your friends while you're at it. If you would like to keep up with me on a more daily basis, you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I also have patches for sale, so if you would like to get your very own, you can click right over here. There's also a link down in the description. Overall, thank you very much for watching, guys. And don't forget to stay brutal.